The last Anambra State governorship election, one of the key issues that defined that campaign was security, the economy, as in every other state. But then, illegal tax collection or levy collection, and also the mode of collection of these levies and taxes, which in Anambra State has been baptized as, some people call them touts, some people call them arboro, call them so many names. We recall that during the last governorship election, the fear of Opiweka was the beginning of wisdom for not only residents of the state, people who operate different businesses, but also those who, especially our neighbors who come into Onitsha every day for business. Today on Citizens Forum, our flashlight will be casted on the recent move by the governor of Anambra State to rid Anambra State of touts. We'll be having this conversation side by side, all of the various attempts, not just by this administration, but also other administrations to do that. What has been the effort? What has always been the impact of this? Is it really working? Does it work? What is the hope? What is the assurance that in the Anambra have that this is not going to be business as usual? I'm ready. My guest is here with me in the studios. He's quite ready, and we bet you're ready. My name is Jude, Geoman, and I welcome you to today's edition of Citizens Forum. Of course, my guest is already seated down here comfortably, I must add. He has water, I don't. All right, good morning and welcome to the program. Morning, Dr. Alex Obiogbolu, he is the political advisor to the governor of Anambra State. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my
I don't know what happened to my water.
I'm trying to bring it on.
Okay, I hope so. All right, let's begin this way. All right, when the governor took his oath of office, in fact, before he took his oath of office, when he was still governor in waiting, there was this announcement he made. He gave the marching orders to, we were excited, especially those of us in Onitsha, when he gave the marching orders to those collecting different kinds of revenue in the state. In fact, he first gave that marching order, I think, to those who were giving them some kind of, was it a certificate, or whatever, giving them contracts. Yeah. And he said, if you are giving anybody contract, let it expire, was it March 17th? Yes, it should expire March 17th. So I wouldn't have anything to do with this. I think March 18th, a day after he took his oath of office, he also stopped all forms of illegal connection. I think the conversation then, or the communication then to the state was, this was going to give the administration time to figure out exactly what is happening with all of this revenue collection and the steps this administration was going to take, or the blueprint it was going to put on the table for its own mode of collecting all of these taxes and revenues. To be fair to this administration, that announcement was made. Opiweka was clean. Onitsha, I operate in Onitsha. Onitsha was clean. Where they went to, honestly, maybe you might tell me. I don't know. We didn't see them. But after a while, the boys came back. So I think maybe this might be a good place for us to start and then build into the recent announcement by the governor. I think he actually did come to Onitsha. Yes. I saw that clip. He actually did come to Onitsha. So let's begin from this background of, when the governor came in, honestly, I saw nobody. But they are back. And I can tell you.
Well, thank you, Geoman. Right. I mean, one thing is Professor Chukwuma Soludo, the governor of Anambra State, is one of the few governors who, upon assuming office as governor of Anambra State, already had a good idea of what was happening on the ground. Okay. He has been in the system. He understands the players. Yeah. And then with his team, he had fashioned out what was going to be the solution to the problem. And we came with this solution. And that was the mantra of the organization. So on 18th of March, a day after he was sworn in, his first task was to be at Opiweka. He was at Opiweka. Two things. To read the Riot Act to those who were operating, the Agberos and the rest of them, that it was not going to be business as usual. Two, to ensure, that was when we declared emergency on sanitation. If you remember, there were heaps and mountains of refuse.
True. Yes.
And he was there to lead the team, to say, hey guys, we're going to clear this. And after that day, he delegated that function to the deputy governor.
Okay.
So the deputy governor was at the head of the team that cleared that mess for 3 months. We were on the ground clearing up all these heaps of mountains of refuse. Third was task he did that day was to head to Okpoko, which again was his belief that if we could get Okpoko to turn around, we could hit the heart of law and order.
Okay.
Because, you know, criminality is at the heart of any society that wants to institute law and order.
True.
And records have shown that most criminalities or acts of criminality that happened originated from the Obosi and Okpoko angle.
Yeah.
So Okpoko was not built to be a slum, but had turned out to be a slum. So the focus was we're going to get this right, clean it up.
Not built to be a slum, but had turned out to be a
yes,
slum.
it was
or not designed.
It was not designed to be a slum.
Okay.
You know, because it was supposed to be a kind of residential quarters for people who were working in the factories, the industrial harbor.
Okay.
So that was what the Jim Mobile government had designed it for.
Okay.
But you know, it turned out to be a slum.
To be a slum, yeah.
So we visited there, and he looked at the schools, he looked at the roads, and immediately promised that we were going to rebuild the roads.
All right.
So the first act the government did was to award the construction of 14 kilometers of road, 14.9 kilometers of road in Okpoko, 9 roads. The longest is the Obiroku Road, which will be dualized, double walkway, handrails, and street lights.
All right.
That project is ongoing. And what he did again was to say, okay, we need to automate a revenue collection system to be able to remove the arboros that are coming. Now, the arboro ward, which people can describe touts, whatever terminology we use, but the issue was that these were people who were like a menace to citizens and commercial businessmen in Anambra State. Those who were coming to trade and those who traded within the state.
Yeah.
So what he did was to stop all those revenue, said nobody should collect a dime while we put in place an automated system. Now, one of the first areas we did automate was the tricycle.
Okay, keke.
Keke, the vans, the buses, the township buses, that area of the sector, the shuttle buses. Thank you. That was where we automated. Of course, on automating it, we now met the brick wall that we expected to meet, which was there were people who had made millions, possibly billions, of naira over the years from having this cartel.
Okay, that's the collection of these
levies.
All right.
Of which they will get contracts from government, so-called contracts. They'll never pay money into the government purse. They may compromise some government officials, but bulk of money was not going within government purse. So the government looked at the figures, 18 million, 30 million a year, and said, we can project this to 400 million a year. And
you said 18, 19 million.
Averagely, yeah.
Please, so we're on the same page, because I'm not on your page. This 18, 19 million was the amount paid
that you could see in government coffers as revenue from the subcontractors, those who were given this task to collect.
So a year they pay the monies they remit. What they do is, what they get from the
when you give them the contract, they pay the first 3-4 months and they don't pay again.
Oh, okay.
And when the relevant commissioner and ministry terminates the contract, they're still operating on the field because they've already become known to the transport operators.
Yeah.
So it was difficult to take it off them. And sometimes there were inter-gang wars that went on between them to hold it off. And obviously, always it was the citizens that were at the receiving end. They were left to the short end of the stick. So what government did, when we automated it, that difficulty came. Then they came up with the excuse, oh, we can't use this thing. Ah, Mr. Governor, you are too sophisticated. You know, our people are not so literate. You know, we can't do this, we can't do that. So for 6 months, we were bogged down. Some of them instigated protests, and that was all led to the banning of their union because the union were consulted, and they said this was workable, that it was a laudable project, only for us to go into the field with them And they were going back to frustrated just because the government said, okay, listen, all these fees you collect from your members and all this, you stop. We'll put them in the government lot, in the bucket for the government, and give you a percentage of it. And to the keke and the shuttle people, the government said, listen, this is what you pay to your union people. This is what you pay to the IBRUs. This is what you pay to government. Okay, look at what we are going to now give you. You can see it's far below what you pay daily. And what we can guarantee you is that you will not pay to any other person, not even any other.
That guarantee. We'll talk about that guarantee.
That.
All right.
So when they frustrated the system, Mr. Governor, after I think about 9 months or thereabout, had a meeting with them. I said, okay, what do you want? They were all called to what do you want? They said, we want to pay this way, we want to pay the okay.
That's the operators themselves.
The operators now. All right. But you know, in everything, there are always people who are the headsmen.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
They mobilize the crowd.
I agree.
Then he said, okay, you want it? Okay, fine. Let's do it your way. As long as you're paying. Even at that, they failed to do that. Now, what did they do? Some of them will get these receipts and will give them to their colleagues to use, because the people who were told to enforce and make sure they're paying were not at that time with certain devices that could detect who was who. Because that one they said they didn't want to be part of that when we designed that. So you saw that we were still falling short of revenue. Then some will refuse to pay and will try to beat the tax force, claiming that the tax force were extorting money from them so that you could withdraw the tax force. And when the tax force was withdrawn, you will see them now applying. And then if peradventure you now catch them 2 months later when you've reorganized the tax force and say, hey, you're owing 2 months. They say, no, I didn't work for those 2 months. I never worked, I swear, on my mother's grave. I didn't work. So the ultimate is that the government has continued to persevere. Because we're a democratically elected government, we represent the people. We're not here to hound them, but we're here to see how we can raise tax to do those things that government needs to do. Because you can see what's happening in the roads in Onitsha. All the roads in Fege, in Onitsha South, have been done, virtually all the roads. And at the same time, in the GRA here, you can see the traffic here is going to be lessened with the parallel road, because it's the federal road. The parallel road being done through the marine that will hit up to...
via marine?
Via marine up to Nsugbe. And government is still in the plan to even see another exit way how we can get out to either Oka Road or the Express, Tazan. These are new virgin roads that are going to be opened up. And these things don't come cheap. So this is what we have been going with them in terms of how we run. Now, they are the ones who extort using money. There are those who are outright bandits, who are robbers, who stay there and will claiming to be, what do you call it, boys for these transport companies. You know, when you get to Iweka, you see them hanging. Then they will take your bag. Let's carry your bag. But obviously, they want to snatch your bag. And if you come in so late as a stranger or a resident who's coming back late, you're bound to be prone to attack. Oftentimes, there are armed with cudgels, spears, knives, rest of them. And there's always an abode for them. What government had built as a beautification park with a toilet, so that people don't defecate on the express, don't urinate on the express. So you see, all these things form at the base of the law and order that the government is trying to do. Because without that, you have a chaos. It's not been easy. You look at the transport, traffic, people flat traffics. You even a driver, motorist, you're moving, the keke man will be making signs showing you his 5 fingers spread out. You know, abusing you.
It's called a worker, in case you don't know. In case you don't know.
So these are the issues, and the government is bent on taking it. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. We'll take it little at a little. So what we've done now is this, which one you just mentioned at your intro.
That would be the final thing. That would be, because that's the main conversation, right? But I like the build-up, because there's something that happens, right? And I mean, I'm in the media. And there's something that happens, and you listen to people every day. And you also experience the city every day. right? And there is a narrative. Pretend or not, you look at this narrative, the narrative looks true. Why the narrative looks true is because not only do you experience it, but when you look at it, there is no other way to explain it. And that's why I had to invite you to the studio, because how do you solve a problem without government? So we can say all we want, but then we can't do much. The government must come in, and that's why you are here. And so there is a narrative in town, in Onitsha, that I live in and I operate in. And one of them is the reason why government cannot deal with these people. I mean, I've heard your explanation, and it's spot on. But then here is the narrative outside of this studio now. And that's the reason why the government cannot deal with this, or is not dealing with this, or is yet to deal with this. People would differ with the English they would choose among these three I put, is these guys are actually maybe party members, maybe sponsors of government, maybe people who are well connected. These are the things people talk about. And that it would have been just easy to deal with them because these guys are known. That, for instance, you mentioned places like Opiweka, for instance. They say the names of the people who they pay to are known. I'll give an example. They say maybe there is a ticket called Geoman ticket. Yeah, that the government is saying it's illegal, but Geoman is known to all of us. Geoman is connected to Dr. Alex. And the reason why you can't take Geoman out is because if you arrest Geoman today, Geoman has one or two people to call. And that is what they say about these people. That is one. The second thing people also do talk about is, and you also see that, and it amazes me, is these guys operate close to military and the police. Because one of the guys as government, I mean, government says something, government says, I don't want to see these guys. The people to implement all of these things are the police. And I won't also pretend that I also don't get amazed. I don't understand it. How somebody who is illegal operates in the full glare of this military and police people. It's almost as though anywhere you find them, just look around. If you don't see the army, and I'm ashamed to say this because I have lots of respect for these institutions I'm mentioning right now. If you don't see the army, you're going to see the Navy. If you don't see the Navy, you are going to see the police. So on the one hand, the government is talking in Oka. But on the other hand, the institution I know, as somebody who knows a little bit of how government should function, the people who should implement what government is saying are looking at these guys, using all of these violent means to collect this money, and they are not doing nothing. I think I should let you know this because this is the dominant
Can I ask you a
narrative.
question?
Please do.
How many years have you stayed in Onitsha?
This is my 10th, 11th year. This is my 11th year.
How many years have you seen this problem?
It's almost as though you asked me the same question.
Good. So it's as long as you've been here.
And I said it in the beginning.
So that tells you that it's not a sore. It's a cancer. I mean, I'm talking from medical perspective.
Okay.
It's not a sore.
Your doctor is not a title like my friend's title.
It's not a sore.
Okay.
A foreign something that comes from beard.
It's a cancer.
You push it and the pimple comes out. No, it's a cancer. And when you're dealing with it, it's not a case of cutting off the head and then the whole body is healed.
All right.
It's going to be a comprehensive problem. But again, as we'll advise those with malignancies,
all right,
that the cure is not a day's thing. You know, you have to undergo treatment. It's gradual, but you will see the improvement if it's not so bad. If it's the stage, depending on the staging of the malignancy. Now, I want to bring that analogy to this.
All right.
What you're saying didn't start today. But part of the problem is the lack of information. I'll give you an example.
All right.
I'm someone who's very active. And I go around a lot, right. So it's not like I'm high up there.
Yeah.
You know, I went to Oakway Street to purchase some stationaries. And then I saw some people who knew me, and they all gathered, you know, got into conversation. Doc, what are you guys doing? You know, this Agbero's thing, this. I said, listen. The problem is that you don't call. The government has provided phone numbers to call. And I said to them, okay, let me give you my own number. Just catch one or cite him and call. That way you can put the government to test whether we have the resolve to deal with this issue or not. And they said, you know, if you do this, these boys will come back for you, this and that, this and that. I'll give you another example.
All right.
The young man who was jailed recently for life, I think he's been convicted for life. Okay. I don't want to call his name. He killed a young man.
Yeah, the popular one in Onitsha, yeah.
Yes. They all knew him. They knew he was what he represented. They knew. But the day he was picked was when he killed that person, and then a mob came for him and presented him to government. Has he gone scot-free now? So the problem we noticed, because what is happening now is that it's not being done blatantly again. I can guarantee that in Onitsha now. In Onitsha? What they do now is hit and run. What the ambush angle. They come, they stay on the street for like 30 minutes, collect from this keke, you see them disappear. Because they know that there's a team that is looking for them. And that team is the Orchard Brigade. Before the advent of the anti-touting team.
Orchard Brigade too has its own...
Because Orchard Brigade's main job is in terms
also
of...
has people, you know, there's also, how do I say it?
Yeah.
Orchard Brigade, well, Orchard Brigade, you need to listen to the people and...
I have a feel on the ground. Mr. Governor is on the ground. He knows what's happening. Yeah, in every system, there are bad eggs.
Okay.
But what you do is to keep fishing them out and taking them off.
All right.
In an apple, I remember somebody who gave an example of Nigeria and then the issue of basket of apples.
Okay.
And he said that Nigerians are the problem, not the leaders. And he was asked why. And he said, you have a basket of 100 apples.
All right.
You take one out and put there, and that one you're taking is the leader. And is rotten. You take one, is rotten. You take one, is rotten. You take one, is good. You take one, he says, what is the impression of the apples in that basket? What is it? It's a basket of rotten apples. So he's saying that from 1960, since the independence till now, we've kept on complaining about leadership, and the leaders are not the same.
They keep changing.
They keep changing. So why are they all bad? Means that the citizens from where they come from, the basket they come from, is rotten. So with that agreement, I know that in every system, in every organization, there are bad eggs. But the important thing is not that they're bad, because in every system you will find bad people. The issue is, do you identify them, and what do you do to them when you identify them? I'll tell you, recently about 30 of them were dismissed. Even amongst the ATMA task force. Okay. Once we get them, they're going.
And that has been...
constant, and then there's a training. What you see, if you notice now, the ATMA task force has not really been on the road because they're undergoing training. Okay. The UBET is undergoing not only training, they undergo new change of uniform. Okay. That makes them look more responsible.
I like the way you said. I like the way you said it. Look more responsible.
Not with this flag jacket.
All right, all right.
You know, and then you just wear any mufti you like. You know, maybe it's wearing.
That's wrong.
Pair of jeans.
That's not how government shows.
That is what we're going to do. So what I'm trying to tell you is that the issue of Aberos, it's a work in progress. But only using the stick alone will not solve the problem alone. Okay. Because what we're trying to do also is to get them out and get them meaningfully and profitably engaged. Meaningfully and profitable. All right. Because you know in life everybody wants to make money.
That's true.
So he's not coming there. He has to do something that can give him money. And that comes to what we're doing with the 1U2 skill. 5,000 persons just graduated yesterday. 2 billion naira grant was given to them. 5 billion credit access for them to upskill the activities. Right. So government is not just taking these guys off the road. Because if you chase them off the road, where are they going to? Okay, they come from Ebonyi State, they come from Imo, they come from other states. For some of them, they're not going to go back there. Even if you take them and dump them on the Obada, they'll still find their way back. So the sum total is how do we improve on our human capital development? Okay. Because the greatest resource the Igbo man has is not this land size. We are a small nation in terms of land area. It's not the industries because they are not all there. It's the human capital we have. That brain, that acumen, that determination to work. It's just that, like I say, in every society, a few bad eggs continue to portray us in the other light.
All right. Okay. Thank God you're done. Now, let's talk briefly, because I really want the audience to, have this opportunity I'm having to hear from you directly and ask you questions and tell you what's really happening in their neighborhood. But speak to what happened in 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes. Speak to what happened, Mr. Governor's resolve. Because before you speak to it, I will just say this. You talked about the assurance that was given to the Keke people. Right or wrong, honestly, I don't know. Right or wrong. But what you hear the Keke people say, what you hear them say is, well, Mr. Governor gave us this assurance, and we are complying. That's what they say. Honestly, I don't have the fact, but they say, we are complying. But then, Mr. Governor is yet to read,
the place of
these criminals.
Yes, Touts.
Then we tell them, then don't pay. You have assurances from the highest places, but then have you seen how these guys collect this money? It's like when we were little, you used to say, your money or your life. That used to be the police and when you're playing. Your money or your life. That's how these guys collect it. You give me or your life. And that they have to give. So I don't know.
No, there are two different things.
All right.
Obeying the law.
Okay.
And cooperating with the law.
When you say cooperating with the law.
Cooperating with the law is you're able to give information to a policeman that this criminal is hiding here. Or this person has committed this crime.
I just told you these guys operate.
No, hold on.
All right.
Right? Well, I'm not talking about, because I don't want to engage in that of policemen, because one, I'm not defending them, but that is not their beat. They have their beat. Every officer who you see on the road has his beat. Okay. Every military man has his beat.
All right.
So even if you're doing certain thing in his presence, he may not look at you as long as you're not engaging or threatening his beat, what his duty is to do there. Now, also we've heard that some of them actually work for them. I mean, that's another story. These are rumors. But the issue I want to tell you is this, that the people who function and beat it is to deal with these agberos are the Cha and now the anti-tout people. That is why that has been constituted, because Mr. Governor takes that serious. It's a promise he's made, it's a promise he's determined to keep.
All right.
But we all understand that is not a day's job. But we are emboldened by the fact that we know that we are getting there. Even if slowly we are getting there. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Months ago, I'm sure you were seeing, they had the audacity to stay near the statue of late Chukwuma Ozigbo, and that was where they were collecting all manners of things, just at the gateway of a nation, the Igbo nationality nation.
Igbo nationality.
But what happened? They're out there. They've been taken out. It wasn't matters. When the Ocha Brigade guys did that, they came back through their own people to accuse the Ocha Brigade people that they were the ones who were disturbing people on the road.
Okay.
So they turned around to accuse the government people that they were the ones. But those boys left that scene. And there was a strategy that was used by this government that kept them out. Because part of the problem we saw was that when you arrest them, what crime do you accuse them of?
Okay.
Now, you didn't catch them in action. And the investigating arm is the police. So when you take them to the police, they get bailed by their sponsors, and they're back on the beat. So they used another ingenious method.
All right.
And then police now had an accusation tag on them. They were sent to the magistrate, and they were bailed. But the bail condition was something else. That was simple, but it's like me telling you, okay, I'm going to bail you, but go and bring your father. That means you must be in good terms with your father for him to come bail you.
Okay, I get it.
So it doesn't need money, but it needs an action of goodwill.
Yeah.
That goodwill, will your father be proud to come
up to the police station
and bail you?
Yeah.
So those are the kind of systems we used, and kept them out of the system. So, but we want more definitive rules, more definitive strategies. And like I said, these things is not, when you go to war, you may be expecting something. When you get there, your enemy puts on that thing, or even a football game, you have to devise on that strategy. The ultimate goal is that you want to win that battle. You want to win that game. So I know that this is something that worries people. But part of us in this country is that we also don't remember the past, and that's why it's good to keep the records Like I told you now, there were boys there who had that audacity to stay at the foot of the bridge. But now, they're no more there. The people we are dealing with, I mean, we know about those who are already in Egerton. They can hear my voice now. Tell them we know them. We're going to come for them.
You tell them.
Yeah. We're going to come for them. They need to get out from there. They need to stop extorting people.
That's on that horrible axis for now. Yeah.
Right? We know the one in Ekoka. We know those ones at Ifite. So these are spots that have been identified by government. And the issue is, what do we do? You know, because you don't just pick them. Where are you taking them to?
Okay.
I mean, Eke as a musician would say.
But is there something like, is there something like coming for their sponsors? Because, you know, you raised the question. I never thought of it that way. You said, where do you even take them to? You also talked about the difficulty of, okay, you get all of these boys, you didn't catch them on, you know, it wasn't like, red-handed and everything. Yeah, everybody understands our legal, justice system and how all of these things perform. But maybe a quicker one. I'm just thinking, I don't know, I've not been in government, but how about going for their sponsors? How about their sponsors also being, maybe, I'm just saying, you know, maybe people will also respect people. Some people are also respect, you know, we respect these guys, they are known. And come, young, can you tone down on this? Is that also not a strategy that could perform some magic?
Well, that one is a work in progress, which I won't disclose here.
Okay.
The important thing is that we know that some of them have sponsors, and some of them are very well organized. And the ultimate aim of the government is that they stop committing these offenses.
All right.
They stop making life uncomfortable for citizens of the state. You know, nobody's interested in what happens to you. We don't wish you ill luck. What we're saying is that now our state must be prosperous. Our state must be livable. Even if you're from Ebonyi, even if you're from Sokoto, this is where you reside. This is your London. This is your America. We want to make it into a green area, a clean area, you know. And part of the problem has been the widespread, I would say, insanity in the system. Okay. Refuse is poured everywhere. People drive recklessly. They go one way. So it's been a mindset that has encouraged this kind of hoodlums.
Anything goes,
to continue to perpetuate because they know anything goes. But as we work on every aspect of the society, I'm sure we'll capture that one.
I think that's a fine place to hang the boot right now and then throw open the phone line so, you know, the audience can get to call in and, like I said, have the opportunity to, you know, have their one-on-one with you. Yeah. All right, still Sapientia, and I'm Jude Geoman, and I also thank Dr. Alex Obiogbolu for being here, the political advisor to the governor of Anambra State. The numbers, I think I will be helped right now with the numbers.